There's a ton of crazy guitars out there, and even more normal ones. I wanted to build something that was absolutely crazy, but not gimmicky. And standing out is harder than you think in the days of jawbreaker guitars and blue jean tables. That being said, this started off as an experiment, and it turned into one of my most prized builds. What's even crazier is I'm giving it away to one lucky subscriber. Stick around to watch me build this and learn how to win it. This video is sponsored by Guyker guitar parts and ultra clear epoxy. Crazy cool guitars need to have crazy cool stories. So why not start off with some cottonwood Burl from John Malecki? Sean and I did drive over 10 hours and through a near blizzard for this, so here's a clip of that. Can I ask you a question about the Burl?
Sure.
Was that the same one you did to book match the legs?
Yes. You can have it.
Dude, it's stunning. It was so thick that I decided to resaw it to preserve material, giving me more options to create the ideal layout. For this river guitar that they're going to win, or if they're going to get to choose to win, we need to come out with a layout. I have this so far. I like this position. Do you like these positions over here?
These, yeah, they look nice.
Cool.
Maybe it'll be sick. You'll
Cool.
see some of that.
I'm going to break the fourth wall, and I need you guys to come in and look at this. So we know we like this here, so I'm going to mark that into that position. And we know we like this one right here, so I'm going to mark that into that position. And we know we like this one up here, right?
Yeah.
Do we want to bring it down anymore? 'Cause remember, that bark's going to go away. We could probably
Right.
bring it down a little more. Yeah, so we can get that whole thing in there. Is that possible?
Yeah. If that's gonna be gone.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be gone, so there'll be a nice little river going up there. I like that. To bind all these pieces together, I chose to go with ultra clear epoxy. I definitely put their deep pour to the test and went way beyond their recommended depth, because I'm impatient. I'm happy to say it worked flawlessly. It's low VOC, easy to use, and extremely durable. If you remember, I said I wanted crazy but not gimmicky. The cottonwood burl had an extremely earthy feel to it, so I wanted to complement that somehow with the epoxy. So I tinted the epoxy with copper mica powder and jet black powder. I even added some black stain later on. My goal was to darken the copper to get more of a brown, earth-like tone. This was the first time I've ever done something like this. A complete experiment that accidentally produced the best color to accent this burl. Dude, that's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's super fucking cool looking.
Oh, it looks so nice.
How deep is this wood?
About 2 inches. You can just fill it all the way up if you can.
Okay.
That is beautiful. Since I went way overboard on the depth of pour, I spent quite a bit of time torching out bubbles. I was nervous I wouldn't get an exact color match in multiple steps, which is why I decided to go this route. Unqualified and unsolicited pro tip. Treat your epoxy molds with some sort of wax or release agent before you pour. Also, make sure you mix enough epoxy ahead of time or you may end up shoving a bunch of shit on the edges to raise it up to your desired level. Ask me how I know this. Speaking of learning, everything I've learned about making guitars is from YouTube and my own expensive mistakes. I've noticed a lot of people stray from making guitars because they're worried about making a mistake. There's a solution for this, though. Just get over it. You will make mistakes. It happens. I mess up every single time I build something. Literally every single time. But I also learn with each one, and in the end, I'm pretty happy I pushed through. I'm a pretty open book too, so if you ever want to get started on making guitars, just reach out to me by email or on Instagram. I do my best to respond to literally everyone, and if you have a question that I can't answer, I'll try to find an answer, and if I can't, I'll probably just ignore you out of shame. If you haven't guessed it yet, this design is a modified Gibson Explorer. I don't know why, but it just felt right. I modified it enough to rename it the Scarlett Explorer. And I have router templates and SVG files available on my website if you want to make one for yourself. I actually made this template set because Cam at Blacktail Studios said he wanted to make one for his friend. I sent him the first ever set I made, along with some specialized tools a while back. Someone tag him and tell him to get his ass moving on this because I want to see a Blacktail Studio guitar. Anyways, this allows the neck to angle downward since I planned on using a Tune-O-Matic style bridge from Guyker. The taller your bridge is, the steeper the neck angle needs to be. I found I prefer anywhere from 2.5 to 4 degrees, but it's all personal preference. Alright, I wanted to take a second to show you guys these 3-piece template kits for electronics cavities. I made them myself, and each one of my kits, my full guitar kits online, are going to have their own form-fitting 3-piece electronics cavity template kits. So, that being said, this one, you kind of see how it follows the edge of this splorer. This is meant to route out the interior cavity, and it has holes here that you can pinpoint to mark for your magnets. And then after you pull that off, you can route the lid, or you can do the lid first, doesn't really matter. So that gets rid of this portion. You take it down just 1/4 of an inch, and it allows space for a lid, which you also have a template for to fit right inside. All done with just 3 sets. Super cool stuff. Makes it really easy, and you don't have to worry about all the differences and measurements. It all is just kind of done for you. So let's get this out and I'll kind of show you what it looks like. Before we get to that, let's add a sexy chamfer to the edge. Chamfers are the king of edge profiles, by the way. Just ask Burl Guitars. I like to use a drill press to hollow out the main portion of these cavities. It saves my router bits from doing too much work, and it's also super satisfying to watch all the shavings pop up. I made these electronics cavities oversized to allow for different variations of knobs and switches. I'm going with the standard tone, volume, and 3-way selectors. But there's room for more in the future if I wanted. Speaking of future, I guess it's time to address the past to those who have been following me on my YouTube journey. For those who don't know, this is the first video released under the channel name Scarlett Guitars. I've built this channel over the years as the Wooden Hobbyist. After the content transitioned into mainly guitars, it just felt like the right move. The Wooden Hobbyist was fun and it focused on all types of woodworking, so the change is bittersweet to me. That being said, the Wooden Hobbyist guitars sound stupid, so change is for the better. At least I think it is. Branding and all that business stuff really isn't my gig. I prefer the creation side of this whole thing. I sincerely love woodworking, guitars, and making videos. This channel allows me to focus on all 3 simultaneously, but in order to keep it that way, I guess the brand needs to make sense too. Anyways, I filed away at this little section to make the lid easier to remove. I like using magnets here and not screws, so this has been my go-to method for a while. This burl was super brittle and dry, so I used some more ultra clear epoxy to stabilize and stiffen it up. I love doing this because it's an early grain reveal to a long, drawn-out finishing process. After the epoxy dried, I sanded the whole thing up to 240 grit and applied some hard wax oil. I like to do 3 coats of this stuff and wet sand with mineral oil up to about 300 grit. It's a way to get a bit more of a polished look out of the hard wax oil, but still allows this thing to look like it's made of raw materials. I wanted this guitar to seem natural, which is weird because it's mostly epoxy. But I really believe the color palette makes it feel raw and the wood grain just ties it all together. This thought process made me think of the Fibonacci sequence, a mathematical growth pattern where each number is the sum of all previous growth plus the current growth, creating an organic expansion that mirrors many natural and artificial phenomena. I didn't write that, by the way. I'm not that smart. I don't even really understand it. That being said, I feel like it describes this guitar in a way, the whole natural and artificial phenomena part. I set the body aside and milled up this wingay to make the neck and the fretboard. A general rule of thumb in the guitar maker world is, and I'm paraphrasing, let one portion of the guitar be the showpiece. Anything else will just make it look cluttered. I hate that rule. I want to be as extra as possible with this thing. It's already super heavy and about 75% epoxy anyway, so I see no harm in giving you something to stare at no matter where you look. Wingay is one of my favorite woods, but it has a serious tendency to chip out and the grain is very open. It sounds like a bad thing, but it fits the idea of this guitar entirely, and you'll see how in just a minute. To tie the neck into the guitar, I thought it would be cool to use Burl as inlays. This is where the CNCs shine. I've made plenty of guitars without a CNC, and I'm never going back. I personally used a Shapeoko 5 Pro, and it more than does the job for my needs. I'm cutting the inlays out first so I can incorporate them into the fretboard cutting process. Less going back and forth that way. For those of you already using a CNC, I made my most popular guitar designs available in SVG format. 1 bass and 2 different style guitars. It includes the bodies, necks, headstocks, truss rod vectors, electronic cavity sets, and 4 different scale lengths of fret slot vectors. Just drag and drop them into your software and you're ready to go. I'll leave a link in the description. This was a mistake, filling all this with white CA glue. I should have used epoxy, but CA glue is faster. The problem is it leaves pits and becomes an uphill battle as soon as you sand it. I decided to embrace the pits later on and just fill them with wingay dust to make it look a little bit more rustic. If you know, you know. What you don't see yet is a Fibonacci spiral at the 12th fret. I thought I'd throw that in there since I was speaking about it earlier. Just seemed to be a good touch. Once I got the fretboard done, I had the crazy idea to inlay the entire headstock as well. Why not? Just like the epoxy color, this was also an experiment that worked out pleasantly well. And man, that fit is so satisfying. Things were going incredibly well so far, and knowing me, that wouldn't last long. I didn't know it yet, but I cut out the wrong size neck and had to do a bunch of work and a super sketchy glue up to make it fit. Just know, you'll see this thing glued in later, and trust me, be glad you missed that part of the process. I've never considered arson in my life, but for a brief second, this neck had me reconsidering if my garage would look good with a fiery makeover. Anyways, I guess I should have asked, but for those of you who woodwork or play guitar, how do you feel about this so far? I'm just curious if I'm the only one who loves the epoxy color and the wild inlays. Is it overdoing it? Would you have done something different? I like that kind of input because it opens the door to new ideas later on. I cheat when making necks and use the router table. This massive table edge bit has graced almost every neck I've made. It leaves a good profile to follow and makes hand shaping the transitions easier. It's just really sketchy to use sometimes. Disclaimer, my shop safety is sometimes non-existent, so don't copy me. There are better ways to do things if you're not lazy. There's always someone who points it out, so I figured I'd just beat you to the punch. I got everything sanded up and followed the same finishing process as earlier, minus the epoxy. I was pumped with how this turned out. Check out the grain on this thing. Remember when I said the glue up was terrifying? I decided to cover up the last remaining piece of evidence with the Scarlett Guitars medallion. It's not about avoiding mistakes, it's about covering them up well and lying about them later. See, no one will ever know. Just a pretty brass medallion with a bin chicken on it. It's supposed to be a Scarlet ibis, but someone from Australia told me they call them bin chickens, and it's now my new favorite slur. Maybe that should be the new name. Bin chicken guitars. Speaking of slurs, Fretwork is one giant bin chicken. It's my least favorite part of the build process because it's so damn tedious yet detrimental to the playability and feel of a guitar. I like efficiency, and there's nothing efficient about Fretwork. That being said, I love when it's done because it makes the guitar look like a completed instrument. I should have done all this before gluing in the neck, but it doesn't really matter. All I'm doing here is leveling the frets so there isn't any serious buzz caused by, frets that aren't level. This process involves so much more than I'm showing here, but you get the concept. After they're level, I just dress the ends and polish them. I wasn't happy with the finish yet, so I gave the N3 Nano a try. It's supposed to boost the sheen and add durability. I've used it on other stuff before, but it was never this powerful. It was a bitch to apply after I already installed all the hardware, but totally worth it. Cam had no idea I was showing this either. I was just genuinely impressed with the final look. It even filled in the scratch marks on the epoxy. We're almost there, and this last part is brought to you by Guyker guitar parts and hardware. Don't mind the dust and dog hair either. I promise it gets cleaned up later. I've used Guyker products in most of my builds, and I genuinely mean it when I say their stuff is high quality. They have so many different things to choose from, but for this guitar, I went with the GM011 adjustable roller 2-pneumatic locking bridge. It's a mouthful. It's made from premium material with a zinc alloy body and stainless steel ball bearings for extra durability and smooth adjustments. It also has independent saddle adjustment for fine-tuning during the intonation process, and once it's set, everything locks in with front screws. Even the sliding saddle slot design prevents slippage and strengthens tuning stability. I also got this crazy tremolo tailpiece. It's the GM85 tailpiece on their website. I love the idea of a tremolo without hollowing out the body. As you can see, besides me adding a bunch of dust to it, the fit and finish is top notch. Normally, more affordable hardware just feels cheap, but these pieces are sturdy and gorgeous. I think they really brought the guitar to life and add a ton of value. If you're looking to upgrade your guitar or build a new one, definitely check out some of their products. And again, link is in the description. Once everything was in place, it was time to string this thing up and give her a spin. Don't worry, I'm going to talk about how to enter the giveaway soon. I don't want to, but I'm going to. I know not everyone is a fan of gold hardware, but damn does it look good on this. Absolutely wild. I even added all gold locking tuners to support the tremolo. I mentioned in the beginning that I wanted this thing to be crazy, but not gimmicky. So tell me, what do you think?
So the epoxy that we poured to make this portion of the body. We added a few different pigments to it. We did like copper, black, and then we also did like black Danish oil.
No, we did black stain.
Black stain.
Yeah.
Which I didn't really know if that was going to work, but
It did.
It worked beautifully, as you can see, and it works really well with this cottonwood burl that we got from John Malecki. We got a really nice pattern that it made on the back, because this was laying downwards, so it's going to be a little bit different from what you see on the top. And then we've got our wingay, right? That's
Yep.
wingay, yep.
We have a full wingay neck and fretboard. You can't really tell here. I'll throw in some beauty shots. We have Burl inlays, as you guys saw in the build. The Fibonacci spiral that goes from thorns into leaves. We also inlaid the entire headstock up here. I just think it looks really cool. All gold hardware. And then, of course, the awesome hardware from Guyker. Again, the stainless steel ball bearing saddles, the independent saddle movement. Everything here is just completely independent, so you can adjust everything, fine tune everything to your liking. It's really nice. I love this tailpiece. I normally hate having to reach too far down to grab the whammy bar. Tremolo for you nerds. So I put it up close. But yeah, I love how it turned out. It's a killer guitar. Like I said, I really don't want to give it away. So, how to win it. If you go to the link in our bio of this video, there is a link directly to the page to sign up for this. You also need to comment on this video, like, and subscribe. If you become a member, you automatically get 100 additional entries. So you have until Saturday, August 30th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time to submit your entries. You can learn more about how to win on the website. Again, that link is in the bio. Appreciate you guys watching. Here's a little bit more sound.